Have you ever walked into a grocery store, picked up the same items you've been buying for years, and somehow ended up spending twice as much money? A few years ago, $100 could fill an entire shopping cart. Today, that same $100 often feels like it barely covers the basics. Eggs, milk, bread, meat, vegetables, snacks, and household essentials all seem more expensive than they used to be. For millions of Americans, grocery shopping has become one of the most frustrating parts of everyday life. People constantly ask the same question. Why are grocery prices so high? Is it inflation? Is it corporate greed? Is it supply chains? Is it government policy? The answer is more complicated than most people realize. Today, we're breaking down exactly why grocery prices have increased so much, what's really happening behind the scenes, and whether food prices are likely to come back down anytime soon. To understand grocery prices, we need to start with a simple fact. Food doesn't magically appear on store shelves. Every item you buy goes through a long journey before it reaches your shopping cart. Farmers grow crops and raise livestock. Food processors package products. Transportation companies move goods across the country. Warehouses store inventory. Grocery stores stock shelves and sell products to customers. Every step of that process costs money. When costs increase at any stage, those increases often get passed along to consumers. One of the biggest reasons grocery prices increased in recent years was inflation. Inflation simply means that prices rise over time. When inflation affects an economy, businesses face higher costs. Fuel becomes more expensive. Labor costs increase. Packaging materials cost more. Equipment becomes more expensive. Transportation costs rise. Companies eventually pass those costs on to customers in the form of higher prices. Fuel prices play a surprisingly large role in food costs. Think about how far food travels before reaching your local grocery store. Fruits and vegetables often travel hundreds or even thousands of miles. Meat products move through multiple facilities before arriving at stores. Trucks deliver products constantly. When fuel becomes more expensive, transportation companies charge more. Those higher transportation costs eventually show up in grocery prices. Labor costs are another major factor. Grocery stores, warehouses, farms, food processors, and transportation companies all depend on workers. As wages rise, operating costs increase. While higher wages can benefit workers, businesses often raise prices to offset those higher expenses. This means that labor costs become another piece of the final price consumers pay. Then there are supply chain disruptions. During the pandemic, global supply chains experienced massive disruptions. Factories slowed production. Shipping delays became common. Ports experienced congestion. Shortages affected everything from food ingredients to packaging materials. Even when products were available, getting them from one place to another became more expensive and less efficient. Many of those disruptions have improved, but some effects continue to influence prices today. Weather also plays a bigger role than most people realize. Droughts, floods, hurricanes, extreme temperatures, and other weather events can reduce crop yields. When supply decreases while demand remains strong, prices tend to rise. A drought affecting major agricultural regions can increase prices for multiple products simultaneously. Consumers often see higher prices at the grocery store without realizing weather conditions thousands of miles away played a role. Another important factor is consumer demand. During periods when consumers spend more money on groceries, companies can sometimes raise prices without significantly reducing sales. Demand for food is relatively stable because people have to eat. Unlike luxury goods, food purchases are difficult to eliminate completely. This gives food companies more flexibility when adjusting prices. Many people also wonder whether corporate profits contribute to higher grocery prices. This topic generates significant debate. Some argue that food companies and grocery chains increased prices beyond what was necessary to cover rising costs. Others argue that higher prices primarily reflect genuine increases in operating expenses. The reality likely varies between companies and products. What matters most for consumers is that grocery prices increased regardless of the exact balance between rising costs and profit margins. One frustrating aspect of inflation is that prices often rise quickly but rarely fall back to previous levels. Many consumers expect grocery prices to return to where they were several years ago. Historically, that's not how inflation works. Prices may stabilize. The rate of increase may slow. Certain products may become cheaper, but widespread price declines are relatively uncommon. Instead, incomes eventually need to catch up to higher prices. This helps explain why so many Americans feel financially squeezed. Even when inflation slows, prices remain elevated. If wages don't rise fast enough to compensate, households continue feeling pressure. Grocery shopping becomes a constant reminder that money doesn't stretch as far as it once did. Certain grocery categories have been hit harder than others. Eggs have experienced dramatic price swings due to disease outbreaks affecting poultry farms. Meat prices have been influenced by feed costs, labor shortages, and processing challenges. Fresh produce prices can fluctuate based on weather conditions and transportation costs. Every product category faces its own unique pressures, which is why some items seem to become dramatically more expensive, while others remain relatively stable. Consumers have responded in several ways. Many households are switching to store brands. Others are buying in bulk, using coupons, planning meals more carefully, or reducing food waste. Some families are cooking more meals at home instead of eating out. While these strategies don't eliminate higher prices, they can help reduce the impact on household budgets. Technology has also changed grocery shopping. Price comparison apps, digital coupons, loyalty programs, and online ordering tools make it easier for consumers to find savings. Small savings may not seem significant individually, but over a year they can add up to hundreds of dollars. The bigger lesson is that grocery prices reflect much more than what's happening inside a grocery store. Every product represents a complex network of farms, factories, transportation systems, labor markets, energy costs, weather patterns, and economic forces. When multiple parts of that system become more expensive at the same time, consumers feel it immediately. So will grocery prices ever go back down? Some individual products may become cheaper. Certain supply chain improvements may reduce costs. Competition can sometimes create lower prices. But most economists expect food prices to remain higher than they were before the major inflationary period of recent years. The more likely scenario is that price increases eventually slow, while wages gradually catch up. For consumers, the most important thing is understanding what's happening, rather than assuming higher prices are caused by a single factor. Grocery inflation is usually the result of many forces working together. Fuel costs, labor costs, supply chains, weather events, consumer demand, and broader economic conditions all contribute to the final price on the shelf. The next time you look at a grocery receipt and wonder why the total seems so high, remember that every item in your cart represents a long chain of people, businesses, transportation networks, and economic forces. Understanding that process won't make groceries cheaper, but it does explain why food prices have become one of the biggest financial concerns for millions of American families. And in today's economy, understanding where your money is going is often the first step toward taking control of it.